Now hopefully you all know how stop motion works. You move something, then take a picture, then repeat thousands of times, and when you play the pictures back, you get a movie. And for my latest stop motion, I wanted to make it the best I possibly could. The best lighting, the best camera angles, and I didn't want the camera to shake or the animation to look too janky, so I took my time animating. Downstairs in this basement set, I mostly used these Lego LED lights for the lighting. I bought these off of eBay and they look really cool. And one new technique I used was called shooting on twos. All my other videos are shot on ones, moving the character and the camera for each frame. Shooting on twos is basically moving the camera twice for every time you move the character. This creates really smooth camera movements. Now I'm not perfect at this yet, so I had my computer help me with some shots. I use Adobe Premiere Pro for all my videos, and for some of the moving shots I had to use the warp stabilizer. But what you were probably wondering is how I made Lego stop motion look like Super 8 film. How did I do it? Well, I did stop motion on Super 8 film, obviously. Now, if you watched that video, you would know I have lots of Super 8 cameras, and these two can do stop motion. This one is a Bell & Howell 2103 XL, and this one is a Sankyo Macro Focus MF303. This one actually has a setting where you can do stop motion by clicking the trigger. But this one doesn't have a macro focus. Before I jumped into animating the final shot, I had a roll of black and white film that I did some tests on. Just to see if I even could do stop motion on Super 8 film. Since Super 8 cameras shoot at 18 frames per second, I wanted to know if shooting on ones or twos would look good. Shooting on ones looks sped up, but shooting on twos would use up twice as much frames, so I decided to shoot on ones. I had the exposure on auto and that caused some light flicker. But then I realized on this camera there's a shutter release hole, and my dad has this. So when I attached it, I realized that it made it do stop motion. And this camera can do macro shots. So I decided to use it for the final color film stop motion. The film I used was Kodak Ektachrome, and this is daylight balanced, which means under white light, like the sun, it looks normal, but under orange tungsten lights, it looks really orange. So I used white LED lights for my animation. For the first half of the reel, I had to animate while bending down to look through the viewfinder for each frame, and that was hard on my back, so I made this. This thing attaches to the Super 8 camera, and I put my phone on it, so the phone can look through the viewfinder. And I have an app on my phone called Stop Motion Studio Pro. It's really good if you want to use your phone for stop motion, and it made my animating much easier. But every time I clicked the Super 8 camera, I had to click my phone to have this feature called onion skinning to be correct. Then it was a matter of waiting a few weeks to get the developed film back and to see if it was even good. And it sure looked amazing. So I basically have two of the same stop motions, one of lesser quality for my iPhone, and one of a 4K scan of the Super 8 film. Now I finished the Super 8 cartridge on October 7th, and I sent it out, and I got it a month later on November 5th. And for the last shots of the Super 8 roll, for some reason they were really blurry, so I had to use my phone footage in the final edit. And for the Super 8 film, for the shots, I referenced some of my parents' actual Super 8 home movies. This first shot is of my dad's birthday. This shot is of my mom and her sister, my Auntie Debbie, playing in a pool. This is my mom riding her horse and jumping over a fence. Even though that horse is named Balmy, she did have a horse named Dakota with a polka dot butt, so I painted the polka dots on a Lego horse. And this baby shot of me is actually referencing my mom holding me as a baby, but it was VHS footage.
I'll go. Really? Did you smile? Yeah? Smiles with him? Big yawn. What are you crying now?
Then, to have it as a prop for my Lego guy to hold, I had to cut off a few inches from the start and wrap it around these pieces, and then tape it tightly. And that's how a Lego minifigure could look at Super 8 film with Lego stop motion on it. Now for the film projector itself. I looked online and there was lots of ways to make a Lego film projector, and they looked good, but none of them were able to have a Super 8 film be put through it, so I just made one myself. You remember these LED lights? I also got these stud lights, and they worked perfectly for the lens of the film projector. The way I projected it on the wall was that I had the digital file of the stop motion, and I edited it to make it look like it was on the wall. And the light on the wall was just a flashlight shining through a small hole in a piece of paper. So everything was set. I had the Super 8 film in a Lego projector, which was really hard to animate, because of course a Lego guy can't hold a thin piece of plastic. And then I decided to take it outside. I had to make this whole outside set from scratch. And for this shot, I didn't use a green screen, I used rear projection. Well, not projection, I basically played a video on a TV. And I had a light where the sun was to actually shine on the set. And for every frame, I had to play the sunset time-lapse for a few seconds, move the camera slightly to the left, and move the light slightly down like a setting sun. And when I played the shot, I realized I could see the light bulb, so I photoshopped it out of every frame just to make it look like a blown-out highlight. I made the projection screen out of some cloth I had lying around. And it had this hodgepodge of tinfoil and Lego to shine a rectangle onto the sheet like it was coming from the projector. And to have the Super 8 stop motion look like it's being projected on the wall and to see the texture beneath it, I had to use the multiply blend mode. And for this shot, in order to have the Lego guy block out the projected image and to have it projected on him, I copied the video and moved it over him, while using the multiply blend mode to have the video only show up on the bright parts of the Lego guy. This is by far my longest stop motion video, 11 minutes long. I started this on April 26th, and I timed myself on my phone every time I animated, and I got 24 hours before I realized I needed to do stop motion on Super 8 film, and then I did 20 hours of animating on Super 8, and then 50 more hours of stop motion and editing. About 94 hours of my life, give or take, to this one video. And thank you so much for watching it, and watching this behind the scenes video. It's gonna be a while before I get up the energy to make another big stop motion like this, but I'll again try and make it the best it can be.